Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter I do not want to be her mom anymore? Hello, everyone. I decided to share my story here and hopefully gather some input on a situation that is currently causing me a great deal of distress. This will be very long, so please bear with me. By the way, I am using fake names in this story. I am a woman in my late 30s, 36, and I am married to Josh, 40. He has a daughter, Ella, 18, who still lives at home and is in her first year of university. I have been married to Josh since Ella was 12 years old. Ella was on good terms with her biological mother until her mother got married and completely ghosted both her and her father when Ella was only 11. This devastated her so deeply that Josh decided to give it more time before introducing Ella and me. Once we got engaged, Josh finally introduced me to Ella, and surprisingly, we clicked right away. We both loved anime and video games, and we often played video games together and watched different anime series together. When my husband and I finally got married, she was a junior bridesmaid because I wanted her to be part of the wedding. She was involved in the entire process and was very excited about her father and me getting married. When Ella turned 14, she started calling me mom, and we were closer than ever. Around age 17, her mother came back into her life, and her father agreed to let her see her mother once a month. Ella still called me mom, but she became more distant than she had ever been before. When she turned 18, she started calling me by my first name. I will not lie, it hurt, but despite that, I continued treating her like my daughter and referred to her as my daughter when speaking to others. I'm sharing all of this to show how close we once were and how drastically her behavior changed. About 2 weeks ago, Ella asked if she could borrow some of my body lotion from my room. I did not think twice about it, as she had done this before. However, this time, I noticed she was taking a long time to come out of my room. I called her name, but she did not respond, so I went to check on her. She looked panicked, grabbed the lotion off my dresser, and rushed out. I thought it was strange and assumed maybe she had been snooping or stealing something minor, like lipstick. I was a bit annoyed but brushed it off. A few days later, we hosted a New Year's Eve dinner. My husband's parents and my sister were invited over for the countdown. During the countdown, my mother-in-law received a text message and immediately stood up. She whispered something to her husband and showed him her phone. At first, I was confused but not concerned, until my father-in-law called out to my husband and told him to check his phone. When he did, his face went pale. He began panicking and asked Ella to speak with him in a separate room. Before that could happen, Ella loudly announced, "Did you know your wife is a WHRE?" My mother-in-law immediately showed me the video and began berating me in front of everyone. My sister tried to de-escalate the situation and defend me, but my stepdaughter kept instigating, telling her grandparents that I was probably cheating on her father. This caused my mother-in-law to erupt even further. They tried to convince my husband that I was definitely cheating and that I was not a good fit for him. My husband already knew about my past work and stood by me, which only made them angrier. My husband's parents left abruptly after a massive argument, during which my father-in-law called my husband a cuck. Shortly after they left, my sister also left to give us space. That night, my husband dropped Ella off at his parents' house so he could cool down and talk to me. 2 days later, he brought Ella home and spoke to her while I was out of the house. He explained that he had always known everything about my past and had always supported me. According to him, Ella realized she had made a huge mistake. She cried, apologized, and told him that her biological mother had told her about my past. At first, she did not believe her, until she found the tapes. My husband called me and asked if I wanted to talk to her. What he did not tell me was that he was standing next to her and had me on speakerphone. I ended up saying that I did not want to be near her and that I no longer wanted to be her mother. She heard everything and started crying. She told me she was going to stay with her grandparents for a while until things cooled down. I agreed, and that has been the arrangement since then. My in-laws have since started telling people about my past and slandering my name, which makes me even angrier at Ella, as she has had multiple opportunities to correct them and has not. I know she is only a teenager, but I cannot bring myself to go back to the way things were just because she apologized. Please, I could really use some advice. Am I being too harsh? Edit. I absolutely did not expect this many comments so quickly. Thank you to everyone who left kind replies and offered genuine advice. I apologize if I cannot respond to everyone, but I am reading all the comments. I want to clarify a few things to address common questions. 1. I was 20 when I created my first movie. Yes, DVDs existed at that time. I am confused by people who think adult DVDs did not exist in 2010. 2. Ella was able to find the content online using information from the DVD. I do not know the details of how she did this. Realistically, it was not difficult. I have searched for my own content and found it easily. Her father told me she screen recorded one of the videos. 3. I kept the DVDs because I was once proud of my work, and my husband requested that I keep some that he liked. I never thought my stepdaughter would snoop through my things, so I did not destroy or hide them. 4. This is not a karma farm. If you do not believe the post, feel free to scroll past it. I do not even know what karma does, to be honest. I will not be posting links to my old content. I am married and do not care whether people believe me. 5. I do not hate my stepdaughter. I simply need time to process everything. I am still human. 6. Ella's biological mother is friends with my ex-boyfriend, who was involved in that period of my life. That is how she found out about my past. My husband did not tell her. 7. Josh and I were dating when Ella's mother ghosted her and stopped visiting. Yes, Ella was 11 at the time. We dated for about 2 years before getting engaged and were engaged for 1 year. During that time, my friends and I bonded over watching Naruto. Ella and I became close before the wedding. Saying we clicked instantly was an exaggeration, but she warmed up to me fairly quickly after discovering our shared interests. 8. I will try to update when possible, but I will be taking time to process and consider the advice given. Therapy is an option. Final update. Hello, everyone. This may not be the update some of you hoped for, but it is likely the one most of you expected. This is extremely long, so feel free to skip the context and go straight to the update. Before I begin, I want to provide context about Ella's mother and my relationship with her. For convenience, I will call her Lori. Context: Lori and I are not on good terms. When Lori and Josh were together, Josh and I were friends. There was never anything romantic between us, and our relationship was completely platonic. Over time, Lori became uncomfortable with our friendship. Instead of speaking to me directly, she asked others about me and eventually learned through my ex-boyfriend that I was a former porn actress. She reacted badly, accused me of trying to seduce her boyfriend, and called me a WHRE and a homewrecker. She spread rumors about me among mutual friends. Josh eventually broke up with her after she threatened me with violence. They became co-parents to Ella. To be clear, I never had an affair with Joshua. Around 2014 to 2015, Lori began dating someone new and moved in with him quickly, exposing Ella to him against Josh's wishes. The man was sketchy, and Josh frequently argued with Lori about Ella's safety. Whenever Josh threatened to restrict visitation, Lori would disappear for weeks. Eventually, she married the man without telling anyone. Despite this, Josh honored his promise not to introduce me to Ella until we were engaged. When we finally met, Ella and I became close, which angered Lori. She resented me and the fact that Josh proposed to me after 2 years, whereas he never proposed to her. One day, during a pickup, Lori and Josh argued, and she became violent, slapping him. Josh banned her from his home and threatened to call the police. After that, she blocked him everywhere and disappeared again. In 2024, Josh finally began arranging visits between Ella and her mother. The updates: 1. My husband confronted Lori. She admitted to telling Ella that I was cheating and using my past to support that narrative. Josh was furious and confronted her harshly. She blocked him afterward. 2. Ella returned home with a handwritten apology letter. The letter was deeply emotional, and we had an honest, tearful conversation. While things are still awkward, we are civil and cautiously hopeful. 3. Josh's parents issued a half-hearted apology. They did not apologize for calling me names, but they did apologize for accusing me of cheating. 4. I spoke with Josh about the speakerphone incident. He apologized, and I acknowledged my own mistake in saying I did not want to be Ella's mother anymore. I forgave him, as he did what he thought was best at the time, and honestly, I had also made a huge mistake by saying I didn't want to be Ella's mother anymore. I signed up for the role when I got married to her father. So I don't and will not hold that brief moment against him, when I was guilty of a mistake as well. But honestly, that's it. I tried to give enough context so things would not be too confusing. I apologize for the grammatical mistakes in my last post and probably this post. I'm trying not to use any AI for the editing, so it won't be perfect. I am not sure there will be anything else to update after this. But, thank you to everyone who made it this far, and thank you to all the people who took an interest in my life.